Imagine a world where every face is a mystery, where your closest friends and your family look like strangers, and where every encounter is like meeting someone for the first time. This is actually a real-life challenge faced by people with prosopagnosia, also known as face blindness. Their eyesight is fine, but their brain lacks the ability to perceive faces. Today we're going to dive into the complex world of perception, where not everything is as it seems. The first concept we should discuss in order to understand perception are schemas. Your brain is like a huge library, with each book representing a schema, or a mental framework for understanding a given topic. Schemas are like shortcuts. They help us process vast amounts of information by fitting new experiences into pre-existing categories. They shape our expectations and can influence how we perceive new information, which can often lead to biases. For example, everyone watching this has a mental schema for dogs, but not everyone's schema will be the same. Some people have had bad experiences with dogs, and it will affect their view of other dogs. This is a natural human tendency, and it saves us a lot of cognitive energy. And yeah, this tendency to generalize can definitely cause problems. But a world without schemas would be absolutely exhausting. Right now, you can walk into a new restaurant that you've never been to before, and you know how it works. You go in, you're met by a host who will take you to your seat. You look at a menu, order, eat, pay, leave. If you had no ability to create schemas, then every restaurant would be a new puzzle to solve. And as a result, the cognitive load of a single normal day would be horrible. So we know that schemas save us a lot of energy, but how do they affect our perception? Well, let's start with a little experiment here. I'm going to very briefly show you an image of an open refrigerator. I want you to see if you can catch what color the Chinese takeout box is. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. So what color was it? If you said black, then you're kind of right. The boxy thing in there did look black. But did you notice that the refrigerator is actually full of books? If you missed this, it's because your perceptual set for a refrigerator doesn't include books. A perceptual set is a particular type of schema that tells your brain what to expect when it comes across a given object, person, place, or event. Okay, let's move on to another major aspect that determines your perception, which is your attention. Selective attention is our brain's ability to focus on specific stimulus while ignoring others. It's essential for functioning in a world that's full of sensory information, but it also means we might miss other important stimuli. The classic example of selective attention is the cocktail party effect. Imagine you're at a crowded party, yet you can focus on just one conversation, even as the background noise swirls around you. Interestingly though, if someone mentions your name in a different conversation, you're likely to notice it. And this demonstrates how personal relevance can kind of break through our focused attention. And it tells you that on some level, your brain is processing these conversations that you're not even paying attention to. Okay, so if we're focusing on one thing, it sometimes means we're not focusing on other things. And this can lead to something called inattentional blindness. Have you ever looked for something only to find that it was right in front of you all along? This is an example of inattentional blindness. Another type of blindness that can occur from lack of focus is something called change blindness. And this occurs when there's a change in a visual stimulus and it goes unnoticed by the observer. For example, the size of the subtitles in this video has changed several times since the start of the video. Did you notice these changes? I doubt it, because the change was very small each time, and your attention was directed elsewhere. I'll set them back to the base settings now so you can tell. There, that's better. Okay, the last concept we can talk about is perceptual constancy. This is our brain's ability to perceive objects as unchanging despite changes in sensory input. For instance, a door is recognized as a rectangle even when it's open, and the image that's on your retina is a trapezoid. Another example is how a building appears larger as it gets closer to you. But you never stop and think, hey, that building is growing. You recognize that it's just simply getting closer, and you know that that building has always been the same size. Something similar happens with color as it gets dark out. You know red brick is still red, even though it may appear brownish because it's getting dark out. Okay, that's a little bit on the topic of perception. In the next video, we'll look at our sense of vision.